I'd like to think that it was the episode that I did for Law and Order, but in fact it was a Burger King commercial, and they had like this special like 2 for 2, and they had this song like just the two of us.
Oh yes!
And I kept eating these stale cold French fries, but I was just so happy to be working, and then they tell me you have to fill out this form, and I'm like, why? He's like, well, you have to go and apply for this organization. And I'm like, how much is it? It's like, well, it's $1,400, or whatever it was at the time. I was like, that's basically what I got paid for this commercial. And then that compelled me to do research and understand the importance of our union, the importance of our organization.
Selena, for you?
Well, it was a Joe's Crab Shack commercial. Does anybody remember those? I do. Yeah. I was in Texas, and I got one of my first commercials. You're lucky you did French fries. They wanted me to eat shrimp every time.
Oh.
I was probably 6. Then I would eat it because I'm like, I'm a professional. And then by the 15th take, I was like, just over it. But yeah, I remember when I got it, it was a big deal.
2 products I believe in, by the way, shrimp and burgers. Carla, for you, what was your first job in the casting business? Do you remember the first thing you sort of worked on?
Yeah, actually I started in Mexico City. And I started working with my dad on a film, Man on Fire.
I love that movie.
Yeah, a long time ago. Yep.
So you discovered Denzel Washington for that movie?
Of course. I wish. No. I just did additional casting for that one.
Wow.
Being local in Mexico City.
Oh, wow, that's a great one. Well, again, congratulations on a wonderful film. I want to start with Zoe and Selena because this movie's about so many things, but sort of at its core is these 4 women, seeking happiness and the connections between them. And I feel like the ensemble of the film really reflects that. Can you talk about how you sort of came together and the connection you formed in creating something so unique? When did you all get to meet each other? Was there a rehearsal process, or you just show up on site? Had you 2 ever met before?
No. Oh. Our schedules, I know that you were finishing a show, and then you were arriving, and I probably was there maybe a month before, maybe 4 or 5 weeks before you were there. And this was also 4 weeks before we began to shoot, so I finished a show and I flew straight there, and the very next day we were in the recording studio, and I met Damian, and we started learning the choreography. I mean, I hit the ground running like a Navy SEAL, but we didn't meet until you arrived, and I think you attended a rehearsal. And then we organized a dinner. Was that the first time I met you?
Yeah, that's how. Yeah, basically after we met, we wanted to get to know everybody, so we had a nice little dinner, and it was just
the best.
It was the best. So sweet. Yeah, it was really nice.
You both share such amazing chemistry with Carla Sofia Gascon, who plays Emilia. I'm sort of curious, did you ever read with her, or was it a thing where you showed up on set and it was like, well, you've been married for 5 years. Here's your spouse.
No. I did have a rehearsal with Carla. We had tons of conversations around our relationship, and we still joke to this day that I'm married to her, and because I love her, and I just feel like, I don't know, that was such a bonding moment.
When did you meet her?
I met Carla in 2022, I think maybe 2 months after we were both cast. They decided, they had to push a year because my schedule was just not allowing me to do it, and I really thought that Jacques was going to be like, well, okay, you're busy, so bye, I'm going to cast someone else, and he sent me a really nice email. He said, I'm willing to wait if you give me your word that you're going to do this movie with me. And I mean, are you kidding me? The only way, if the unthinkable happens, the only way that I'm not going to be present on that shoot. So I would say it was the summer of 2022, around July. They called me. I fly to Paris, and Carla was already there doing some tests with them for makeup and recording and everything, and her and I and Jacques spent, I would say, 4 days together improvising and doing a lot of rehearsals, and because I think he needed to see us both in the room in order for him to understand the kind of like dynamic that Rita and Emilia were going to have in certain very poignant stages of their relationship.
Yeah.
Because it's a relationship that in the beginning it's based on absolute fear, you know? And then in the end, there's still that same fear, but in the beginning there's a fear of her, for Rita, and then in the end there's a fear for her.
Yeah.
So that love is transformative in its own way, and I think that Jacques just needed to sort of see us in the room. Meeting Carla was incredible. She's a force of nature. She walks in a room and it's not just her height and her beauty, you just can't take your eyes off of her. She's just so enigmatic and so hardworking, so passionate, so Spanish. Speaks her mind, even at church. And so it constantly how you are seeing her, right? And how you're hearing her, it's just like oozes so much information that you just have to take in as a person, but also as an artist that's going to be playing a character that is so transformed by her. So it was the rehearsals were always, I mean, interesting is underselling it. They were just incredibly powerful. They were really great. And I know you and I talked about it too.
I wish she could have been here because you guys would have loved her. She's outstanding.
Maybe she heard that you're divorcing her for your new love, because...
No, I'll always be Carla's.
Carla, for you, in addition to finding this amazing ensemble, where did you even begin with the title character? Because if you don't find the right Emilia, this movie literally doesn't happen.
Yeah, well, I actually came on board. They had already started casting in Mexico, and they had been going at it for a while. So they called me, and they decided to expand the casting to all Latin America, Spain, the U.S. And that's when we started seeing all these amazing actors. And for that role specifically, I was looking for that role, but I was looking for the other roles at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't just looking for Emilia. And that was a very difficult role to cast.
I
for
can't
sure.
imagine.
Yeah.
Was there any point where you were concerned you weren't going to find her?
Yeah, but with difficult roles like that, I'm used to casting difficult projects for some reason. And there's always a moment where you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Where am I going to find this person? Look under we did social media, just everything. Yeah. But then she showed up and she was perfect.
Wow. I mean, knowing